Creating ads and content your buyers will actually care about. A very true story. I'm very excited to dive into this. Now, just for reference, I'm in a very unique spot because I work at a marketing agency for technology companies called Directive. We spend $3 million plus a year on our own ads for research and development, because if we don't innovate for our clients, if we don't test things out and try to find the next big thing for our clients, they're gonna let us go. So we spend a lot of time and effort trying to innovate and test new things. Some can be pretty out there. Some are going to work. Some will not. It's just how it is. And then if we start to see kind of good results, scale it out to B2B companies that we work with, and we start to see the results from there at scale. We manage a lot of tech ad spend. I've been able to see a lot of ad accounts and CRMs. So I get to test and see things that most people cannot. And everything we're going to talk to today is pretty much tried and true across a lot of clients and including ourselves. So first, let's start what's really going on in B2B, because there's a lot. It's 2023 and 2024 is not seeming like it's going to be too much different. First, everyone looks the same. This has been going on for years, but every B2B company, just all the ads look the same. Everyone's doing the platform image on the right side with the requested demo call to action. They're AI enabled, all in one, best in class. They're all in the Magic Gartner quadrant, blah, blah, blah. And somehow they're also all number one. And so buyers become numb to that. And that's a big problem, because it's really hard to show that you're number one. It's really hard because as you can see, a lot of companies are just playing the same hits that they've always played. And you can't stick out anymore by saying you're number one or you're the best or you're AI enabled. It does not work anymore. And so we need to innovate. And not to mention AI. And AI is great. AI is amazing. I was just doing some content and AI has helped out a lot, but it's also made the barrier to entry very low. And now there's more noise than ever. It's made content creation and endless creative and ad copy. And, you can see Google Ads just giving you text ideas. The barrier to entry is very low. And so there's more noise than ever, making it harder and harder, again, to stick out, especially in your advertising. And then not to mention the budget and resources, because it's 2023 and it's, again, not stopping in 2024. Growth goals somehow have not decreased. They are getting bigger and bigger despite less budget and people. That's why everyone's saying do more with less. Your buyers are buying less. I know there's that stat out there that says, 3% of your buyers are in market at any time. I would debate that's 1% now, because buyers are buying less. There's more scrutiny. There's more red tape. There's more, you need more meetings to close a deal. And your teams are spread thin, so you can't do as much. And you have more competition than ever. We've all seen those MarTech PDFs with all the competitors. Even if you look in like the sales engagement platforms, everyone's becoming an all-in-one. Everyone's buying up companies. Everyone's building out products for each. There's more competition than ever. Growth goals aren't getting lower, and your budget and resources are tight. You need to innovate. You need to think differently, and that's what we need to do. Now, how do we do that? Now what? At the highest level, and we're going to go deep into a lot of ad concepts that actually have worked that we've tested, that we've seen clients use as well, that we're even seeing out in the market. We need to be, at the highest level, we need to be different, not better, because no one buys better, they buy different. You saw the example of the number one. Everyone's number one these days. You can't explain to someone that you're number one anymore. And to be honest, they don't care. Buyers do not care how you're the best for them. They just care about how you're the best for them in their situation. I don't care if you're in the Gartner report, the G2, the Forrester, or anything else. You are not. Just because it says number one does not mean you're the actual number one for your buyer, or they don't think that. You need to be number one for their situation and for what is best for them. And that's what they actually care about. So we're going to dive into some ad concepts that help you stick out without having to use number one rated type of kind of copy or AI enabled or anything like that. Let's do it. So the first one I wanted to talk about here is people love stats that sound real. You'll see this image on the right here. It's actually from Metadata. I think it's a great image. As you can see here, they give you the actual stat, increasing the pipeline by 60% in 3 months. My only critique here actually is that the 60%, I would almost choose 59%, even if 60% was the actual number, because it sounds more authentic and real. We actually tested this. We tested, 50%, like an even number, like a rounded up number that typically say like, 50% versus 100%, 50% or 100% versus maybe like a 48% or 53%. These odd numbers, they're more memorable and they stick out and they make it sound like it's actually real. It's not to say 60% isn't real, but it sounds more real if it's 59% or even 62%. The 3 months, that is also a crucial thing here that's in the ad, because even just you don't want people to wonder what the time frame is. So something like a decrease X by 48% after 4 months, increase X by 53% in 3 months. Now those sound real and they stick out. These type of ads, especially if you're doing testimonials or customer case studies, those type of data points and the time frame really do work. The second concept here, and this is one of my favorites actually, is make it more personal. I know personalization at scale gets a bad rep because people ruin it. They say, hey, first name, and then it's like not even their first name. But this is a little different because in advertising, if you're using LinkedIn or Facebook and Instagram with a B2B targeting tool like a Metadata, you can segment out your campaigns by job titles, by industries, by things like that. And the more personal you can make it, the more people are inclined to stop the scroll. And that's half the battle, half part of the time. And so just an example here, like if you say missing your growth goals isn't an option, it actually speaks to the person. That's not bad. But it's still pretty broad. That could be B2B, that could be B2C, that could be what department is it? Now, if you test maybe VPs of marketing, you personify that campaign to the job title, VPs of marketing can't miss their goals. That is going to stop someone from scrolling because that's going to make people, that's me. That is me. That's who I am. Why not? That stops someone from scrolling because it's more personified to them. You can take a step deeper. Industry plus title. SaaS CMOs can't miss their growth goals. Again, these are things that they're more personal to them. That's why it stops the scrolling, and people are going to be inclined to see what's going on there. Now, let me be clear, this also depends on your audience sizes because you don't want to segment it down too much. So even something as small as, just industry, so SaaS marketers can't miss their growth goals, that is also huge because you're also calling out the department. And so a VP of marketing, CMO, anyone scrolling through, this is going to stop their scroll because it speaks to them. Personification works very, very well. We've tried it over and over again, and you see increased click-through rates and people sharing it and engagement, conversion rate. It works. Do not sleep on this one. This is also why one-to-one ABM ads work. This is becoming more and more interesting over the last year, mostly in LinkedIn because that's the best way to do it. But the click-through rate, as you can see here, the 176%, just skyrockets compared to just a regular ad. And click-through rate is not everything. That's a vanity metric. I get that. But just to put this in context, 167%, 176% increased click-through rate. The average LinkedIn click-through rate for like a sponsored content is 2% at the highest, but it's usually 0.5% to 2%. You're usually at that 0.5% to 1% area. This one-to-one ABM ads end up seeing about 8 to 9 to 10% click-through rate. That is almost a 10x click-through rate increase. And again, it's because it speaks to the company. So maybe you're not speaking to the title, But the company, if someone's scrolling and they're more inclined to stop at their content from their company or seeing the logo because it really does speak to them. And that's why you see the big increased click-through rates. You see people sharing them. I've gotten a lot of people DMing me about ours. I've had clients see something very similar. We've had a boss get them. People share them because they stick out. They stop the scroll, which again is half the battle. Now, I don't want to move past 101 ABM ads because I think there is a big misconception on how long they take. Because yes, you do have to create a campaign for each ad, but it's actually not as hard as you think. So I just want to add this here. This is just a quick explanation of how to actually use them or how to create them very simply. Again, we're just going to run through it real quick. All you have to do is create one LinkedIn campaign with your targeting, the location, the job titles or the department, depending on the company size, the company name, that's manual, obviously, and then save that campaign. Then you create the creative. As you saw before with these ads, we want to set it up so the only thing in the creative the person has to do is switch out the logo here. So in this example, Zapier, and then they can do that at scale. So all they have to do is switch out the logo. Then you can go back to your campaign, put in the ad, switch out the text in the description. So let's just say it's Hey Zapier or something like that. Switch that out, and then launch the campaign. Then you duplicate the campaign, take the ad, switch out the company name and the targeting, switch out the ad, and then also where it says Hey X company, switch that out, save, launch, do it over and over and over again. A lot of people think they take a long time, but they don't. Yes, it's going to take longer than if you just create one campaign, but your results are going to be 10x as well. Again, 10x click-through rate. Then you can take it even to just a step deeper. Is actually we're seeing some really interesting success is creating remarketing off of image ad clicks from these because you have that big click-through rate. You get a much bigger pool from those, and obviously these are memorable, so they stick out, and you're going to see that return because of the ads. Don't sleep on these. These are very, very interesting. Talking to other companies that are also seeing, 15% of their pipeline coming from something like this. They stick out, they stop the scroll, which is half the battle, and they make people read the rest of the description, which is what you really want. You want people to stop scroll so you can see the description on like why, and then obviously from there, the copy, the landing page, all those things play into what really going to make them convert or talk to you when they're in that buying mode. Another one, before and after ads. Now this is stealing from B2C. I think we're all in kind of agreement here. B2C has been at the forefront of a lot of advertising. They're usually 10 years ahead of B2B. And so they have some proven concepts that usually work. And so when you start to bring them to B2B and you start seeing them work, they really do work. And one is the before and after ad. This one has been very interesting as well. And it's a great way to speak to how your product or service or your solution will make their life better, the person and the company. How do you express that in the before and after? The after is obviously with your product, and the before is a great way to express that you understand their pain points and where you can actually quickly show, all right, here's the solutions to those pain points. Great way to, again, show your product and your benefits and features of your product. Really good one. Again, stealing from B2C, can't go wrong. Another one from B2C. Now to be fair, this is a little bit more onto the startup side of it because it's a founder story ad. You can still use this at the enterprise level. There's still a way to do that, but I would say it's harder because a lot of times the founders aren't still there or there's a new CEO or something like that. But there's usually a way to do it regardless. But if you're a startup, this is a great ad, and it doesn't have to be overproduced. A lot of people overthink it. All you need to do is use your phone, which has a lot of good camera abilities these days, and have your founder tell their story. And the reason it works is because founders, for the most part, were in the buyer's shoe. there's usually a pain point. There was usually something that triggered them to create this company and to create the product that they founded. And so when the founder talks about this, and obviously there's, a good juju with it because they are the founders and they can speak really to it, and it shows off the passion, which is one of the most important parts here, is showing off that passion from it. It'll really speak to the customer, and it's just such a good way to tell the story of your product. And we all know stories sell. It's a great way to do that with your founder. And again, you don't need to overproduce it. Just tell their story on a camera, put a little, text just like these ones over here on the right. It really does show why your product matters and why, and your buyers will resonate with who was essentially, for the most part, a buyer of or needed the solution. That's why they created it. Another one from the B2C side. It's quite the trend here. Comment response videos. You saw this a lot with TikTok, especially, where you can respond to comments, and now YouTube does it, but you can respond to comments and answer them in video form. You can obviously do this in image too, but it's definitely much better with video. I think the thing people overthink is, oh, I can't find these comments. There's a lot of ways to find these comments. You can go on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be a comment that's on your video or your content. That's the thing. You can go and find someone that's an influencer or someone that your buyers look up to and look through their posts and in the comments. Your exact buyers will be commenting, asking questions, and you can take that screenshot and answer it in a video. The other thing you can do is just make up comments. So there's actually a website called talkcomment.com. Once you go on it, as you can see here in the bottom right, I made a metadata one for it. You can create your own comments and use it in the video. And you can use the questions from anything. You can use it from Slack communities you're in, where you see your buyers ask questions, or again, the influencer part where people are asking those questions instead of screenshotting it. Maybe you make that a makeup comment from it. Or more importantly, talk to your sales team. What questions do they always get? What questions should you answer in your content, in your ads? These are great for, especially for remarketing, website remarketing. And if you put this in front of those people and you answer questions about, your product, your feature, or the solution, or common things that you're seeing, these really, really do work. It has that community building aspect. It comes off authentic. It's such a good ad concept. It's really, really good. And then this one, I wouldn't even. I'm back onto like B2B, but I think it did come from B2C. But it's text or Slack conversations, or you can use Microsoft Teams if you want to. I know there is actually a website out there, but I think Cognizant I have two examples from Cognizant that does this very well. These are obviously made up Slack and text conversations, but it's a great way to make it fun and show either the current or the future state. So the current state could be something like talking about having the boss of the person say, this is the issue we're having, and then then the one person responding like, this is the Dave and the Nick. The future state could be after someone bought your product or solution, and then you can show, I'm so glad we bought this, or I see you're crushing it. You got your numbers are way higher. And it's after I bought blah. These are a fun way to showcase why your product is perfect for this person in a way that people will resonate with, because everyone uses an iPhone or an Android or text basically. And then obviously Slack or Microsoft Teams, everyone in B2B for the most part uses one of those. And so that there's a brand recognition there where people just stop the scroll because they're like, oh, what's going on in that conversation? It's a fun way to showcase something like that. And you don't need a lot of design for it. There's actually a website called ifaketextmessage.com. You can see it on the right here. I made up this one called Boss over here. You can make up text messages and use that for the ad. So it's a very simple way, really, really, low lift, but high impact, great looking ad. Really, really recommend them. Another one, screenshot social proof ads. Novatic, you see the example here with Novatic. They do a great job of this. They have a number of them out there. I've seen a bunch of other companies doing this. We've done it. Clients have done it as well. It's such a low lift, huge impact type of ad. Low lift because you're basically taking a screenshot, and huge impact because it's social proof. It's social proof at scale. Tried and true. Social proof always does well. It's word of mouth. It's all those things, and this is a great way to get that social proof in front of your buyers. It's simple, right? If it's LinkedIn, you can basically look for your tags of your company and see what people are talking about. Like this one, Mark Huber saying we're using Novatic, Aaron Balsa, I'm obsessed with Novatic. Those are great screenshots to use in this kind of ad format and show it off to your buyers. Again, low lift, huge impact, and you can, as you start to find these, you can. It doesn't even have to be like LinkedIn or social. It could be on Slack communities. That's a great way to do it. Facebook communities, anything like that. It's a great way to show off the social proof to your exact buyers. No, again, but even more importantly, low lift, huge impact. Resources are tight, so this is a huge way to do that. And this one's another one I'm really liking a lot is humanizing your brand. And there's many ways to do this, but this one we all know people buy from people. There's no doubt about it. But how do you do that in your advertising? There's many ways, and I would say showing off your employees is a huge one. I will say also that there is some barriers there because not every employee wants to do that. Not every employee wants to be out in the wow. They don't want to be in the ads. They don't want to be outgoing for these type of things. But if you do have some employees that are willing to do that, CSMs, marketers, anything that really resonates with your buyer, especially your buyer, right? If you're CFO, if you can have someone from your company that's in the finance department and you're marketing to CFOs, it's perfect because they're going to resonate with the same type of person. That's a huge way to do it. It's also why employee advocacy is so big, things like that. Raw video, I think everyone overthinks overproduction. You need to have this very produced video. I think there's still a place for that. There's definitely still a place for that in some areas, especially if you're doing like product demos or something like that. But raw video is a good, again, huge impact, low lift type of concept that if you can show off your employees, you can show off, your founder. This all ties together with the founder story too. It all humanizes your brand. And then the other part to it, I really like to see is the reviews. Everyone's, again, back to everyone just playing the hits. Everyone looks the same. I've never seen a testimonial from a B2B company that is not a 5-star review, and that's fair. You always want to have your front forward foot, but everyone's numb to that. Everyone knows you're just going to give out the best person, but also why not show off the 3 and 4 stars? Amazon and Yelp have also numbed us to the 5-star because they're all bots. And now I think there's a misconception that maybe some of these are bought and sometimes they are. But if you could show off the 3 and 4 stars, everyone loves a comeback story. Everyone will love to see how you weren't perfect because they know you're not going to be perfect. Everyone's worked with vendors. If people are buying, they've worked with other vendors and they know they're not perfect. It's more about how you adapted to make it better for that person. And actually, maybe the onboarding was tough, but you could tell that story and then how you fixed that or how you adapted to that. I think people love those kind of stories. And if you can show that off in a creative way, people love it. This is also another B2C one you definitely want to steal. So we just talked about 9 total ad concepts here. This is just a quick recap of them. There's no better way to stick out than with these. Again, I've tested these across our budget clients out in the wild. I've talked to so many freaking marketers. It's sticking out is now needed more than ever because of all those constraints we all talked about. And these are the best ways to do that, in my opinion. And one last thing I want to leave you with, and this also just ties it all together. I am an advertiser. I am a paid media expert. That's my background. Google Ads, paid social. I want to be very clear. Targeting is a commodity. Once you figure that out, it's everything else past that is more important. The ads, the creative, the copy, the landing pages. Those things matter so much more than just the targeting. You need the targeting, no doubt about that, but you need the creative, the copy, and landing pages. What makes you go from just getting conversions to people buying. And we've tried, and this is another thing we've tested across a lot of our clients, where you actually spend less on ads. So in this example, if you spent 20% of your ads less on ads, but you reinvested that in the creative copy and landing pages, your conversion rates actually go up. The memorability of the creative copy and landing pages goes up, and that's when you start to see bigger results, even with less ad spend. It's a commodity, need to be different, not better, and you'll see the results. Thank you.